Hey everyone, it's Lynnea for Simon Hurley Create, and today I'm going to be using actually the same products that I used in my video last week, but I'm going to kind of switch it up with my technique, and I'm going to show you a great way to get 2 cards out of 1. Now recently, Jennifer McGuire had done a video using almost the same technique, and I already had this idea in mind and this video filmed, but I decided to just go with it anyway, and it'll just kind of reinforce the idea. So I have a piece of Simon Hurley Create Stark White cardstock, and I cut it in half. So these come in 8.5 by 11 sheets. So my panel is 5.5 by 8.5, and I put the whole thing in my MISTI, and I'm just kind of laying out my stamps from the Sentimental Flower stamp set. And I'm going to start with this large image here. I stamped it in a black ink. I used a black pigment ink. I'm not planning on doing any Copic coloring. I'm just going to keep these flowers and leaves stark white the way that I stamped them. I have a piece of masking paper. I'm using Gina K Designs Masking Magic, but you can use anything you have. Even a piece of typing paper would work. I just want to create a 1-layer card. This is a challenge for me, and every now and then I like to challenge myself to do a 1-layer card. I don't often do it because I like to have dimension, but I decided to run with it today because I had this idea, like I said. So I masked off that large flower. I just stamped onto the masking paper and then trimmed it out, put it right over that flower, and now I'm going to add in a second flower as well as some leaves, and I'm just going to continue building my arrangement and stamping in the center of this piece of stark white cardstock, and you'll see why I'm stamping right in the center in just a little bit. My tip for this is if you want to do this technique, start with whatever stamp you want to be in the front. So I wanted that large flower image to act like it was in the front of my stamping. So I started there and then worked my way out. So I'm going to remove these masks. If you remove the masks carefully, you can reuse these time and time again. So I'm going to very carefully remove these masks. And look at that, I have a 1-layer stamped floral arrangement with 2 flowers and a bunch of leaves. Now, like I said, I wanted to show you this way to get 2 cards out of 1 stamping background. So I'm going to put this in my paper trimmer and trim this right down the middle. So now I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are 4¼ by 5½ inches, perfect for A2 sized cards. I wanted to add some stenciling to kind of come out from behind the flowers, and you could definitely cut masks for these flowers and leaves. I didn't want to. I don't really mind fussy cutting, but I wanted to show you another way to do it. I have a Versa marker here, and this is basically a Versamark ink pad in a pen form, and it's something that I use all the time to fill in maybe pieces of my embossing that I missed, but it's also a favorite way of mine to do some masking. I used my magic powder tool so that I wouldn't get powder where I don't want it to stick to, and I'm just going to color over this flower. Now, like I said, I had used a pigment ink and I didn't let it dry enough, so as I'm coloring over it with the Versa marker, it's kind of pulling up the color and doing a bit of shading without really meaning to, but in the end it looks really cool. So I'm just using some clear embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle that on to everywhere that I had colored with that Versa marker. Then I'm going to heat set this, and you can kind of see it heating, and as I do, it's going to create a mask for my card. Any of the inking that I do over the top is going to rub right off of that embossing powder, and it's not going to get onto the flower image behind it. Plus, it adds a lot of shine from that embossing powder. So this is going to be a 1-layer card, but you're going to have some ink blending and some shine to it as well. I'm taking the stained glass stencil. I sprayed the back of it with pixie spray, and now I'm just going to lay that over my card, and I'm going to do some ink blending, like I said, kind of coming out from those flowers. So I started here with Overzealous, and now I'm coming in with a bit of Psych, and I'm kind of blending that out towards the left side of the card so that I have a blend out into white. And I just love the way this looks, like those flowers are magically sitting on top of that ink blending, but it's all 1 layer, so it's going to kind of give the how did you do that effect. I'm going to do this again with that second card. I'm using Prom Queen and Guppy inks this time. Guppy is probably my favorite ink color from the Simon Hurley Create ink line. I love to use it. It's a gorgeous, light orange color. I'm going to remove that stencil, and there you go. And you can put these cards either way. Like if you wanted to have both flowers on the left, both flowers on the right, however you want to do this. All I'm going to do now to finish these cards is just add a stark black sentiment from the Sentimental Flower stamp set. I stamped that right on top of the ink blending. And there you have it, 2-for-1 cards that are one layer, easy mailing with just a little bit of shine and a burst of color from the ink blending. Thank you so much for watching. All of the Simon Hurley Create products that I used today are listed and linked in my video description below, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Thank you again very much for watching this video. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button that is on the screen now. And here are a few other videos that I thought you might enjoy.